Today I have a new parking camera system to go with my Idoing stereo to further modernize the features of my old vehicle. Previously, I had used a single 720p backup camera. With this new setup, we will be installing 4 1080p cameras for a 360-degree parking view that includes an emulated 3D top-down imagery. I am recording the audio for this one as I travel, so the microphone quality may not be as good as it has been. The system comes with 4 cameras. Each of them is 1080p. Some have wider angles than others. One is intended for the front, one for the rear, and 2 for the side mirrors. The harness uses a 10-pin connector to connect to the back of the stereo. There are quick connects on both ends of each cable, and each cable is labeled with right, left, front, or rear, so you can't confuse which camera goes where. I'll be testing these all on my test bench before we install it on the vehicle. Reviewing the old reverse camera, 720p camera, there isn't many differences to be noted between the visual appearance of it and the new camera. However, one would be 720p and one is 1080. They just use the same housings. As we can see, the cables are labeled well. We have rear, front, or left and right labeled on each cable. I'll just connect everything here so we can test it on the bench before we bring it out to the vehicle, make sure everything works. Just getting all the cameras connected here. Once connected, if you have issues with the way it's displaying the cameras, such as TV static or ribbons, you'll want to go into the settings and change the format that the cameras are recording in. Previously I was set up for the 720p camera, so I had to change the settings to a 1080p format. Different formats will give you different pictures. With this system, I noted that while using the 30 frame per second 1080p mode, I would get black and white, and if I switched it to the 25 frame per second 1080p mode, I would get color. So just make sure you have your settings correct and play around with the settings if you're having any issues. Here I have the cameras set up on a toy car taped to the roof and to the hood and the trunk, just to emulate how the camera system will look once it's set up on the vehicle. This way we can play with the features indoors before we bring it out to the vehicle. There's a built-in DVR feature that can record footage from all 4 cameras simultaneously. Using a test lead, I can connect 12 volts to the left signal or the right signal input on those cameras, which will bring up the screen to a left view or a right view of those cameras. We can also use the backup camera as usual, but this is a nice added feature just for an extra view while turning. To install the side cameras, we'll have to remove the door panels to gain access to the back of the side mirrors. With the door panel removed, we gain access to all the cables behind. Just peeling back some of this plastic to get better access to the back of the mirror. The cables will run through here into the cabin of the vehicle safely without being pinched by the door closing. Just removing some of the trim to gain access to the side mirror. My side mirror already has a drain hole, and I'll be drilling that out bigger with the hole saw that's included with this kit, just to mount the camera in the bottom. The existing cable for the power mirror runs through the side of the mirror here. We'll be following that cable for our install. For the backup camera, I have the cables ran under the trim, under the seat, up through the side, and tucked under the ceiling all the way to the back of the hatch. From here it runs through one of these channels so that it doesn't get pinched when the door closes. I'll just pop it up here so you can see where I put it. The second cable there. and then that runs through the inside of the hatch and mounted to the back by the license plate. I have the front camera mounted right under the grill of the bumper. The cable runs in behind. The cable then runs through the firewall into the cabin of the vehicle and to the stereo. Seeing the cameras here, all the views are showing up on the camera well. At the time of this recording, I did not realize that my right camera was a little crooked, so the driveway lines were a little off the center. It's important to take your time and calibrate this properly. Make sure the cameras are straight, just so that you're accurate when backing up and don't bump into anything. The default storage location for the DVR recording is to USB 2. You can change this, but with a USB stick connected, I can open my preferred file explorer and review footage from here. The footage shows all 4 cameras simultaneously, and we can scroll through it and play and pause, and yeah, it's a proper DVR system. Each camera records in its widest angle while doing the DVR setting, just to capture the maximum amount of footage. Going for a drive with the front camera selected, just to see how the view is. As you can see on the right side of the vehicle in the top-down view, the driveway is clipping a bit from the side camera to the back camera. That's because the side camera is crooked at the moment and needs to be adjusted. Adjustment for the side camera would be as simple as rotating it and re-securing it in place. Flipping through some of the different views as we drive along. Here we are testing the backup camera. Apologies for the lighting, it's very, very hard to see. I tried what I could to zoom in, but the footage is very hard to see the paint lines on the parking space. We can see that we're approaching the sidewalk and parking just up to it. The top-down view really gives a nice perspective. Here's another view in the shade where the sun is not in our eyes. I find when covered with trees surrounding the vehicle and overhanging the vehicle, the top-down view can look a little funny just because of the way it emulates the view. Having backed up into place, I noticed the curb angle on the cameras was a little different than it was when I look outside the vehicle. This is when I realized the camera was slightly off-center. Rotating the camera fixed this. There's lots of settings for calibration with regards to color, the size of the 3D model, the lines printed behind the vehicle, and positioning of the camera angles. I'm just fast forwarding through this section, but I spent a good amount of time calibrating it the way I liked it to get the size of the van correct to respect with the size of my van in real life, to make everything accurate. When in the 3D view, you can also use the touchscreen to pan around the vehicle. Just a quick drive down the road. Now that the cameras are better calibrated, we'll test backing up once more to see how accurate the lines are. Backing up now, we can see the lines for the driveway between the driveway and the grass are much clearer, much more accurate in the 3D view in respect to the backup camera's view. This is because I had one of the side cameras a little bit off-center when I first installed it. This has been corrected before this. The object that I'm backing up towards is a trailer. I'm stopping just over the shadow of the trailer before I touch the front of it. The lines beside the van look very accurate and very straight. Reviewing the DVR footage from the drive, I can select individual cameras or watch all at once. I'm going to continue to calibrate and fine-tune the settings on these cameras, but so far I consider these an essential upgrade to modernize a vehicle for safety and convenience. While the installation can take some effort depending on the vehicle, the increased visibility, parking accuracy, and DVR security make this accessory well worth it. You can expect a follow-up video after I've had time to fully calibrate and try all the features. Thanks for watching.